I hope you can hear me. I think you did it. Love it. Thank you. I'll put you back on speakerphone. Hi, everyone. Welcome. It's so nice to be with you tonight. I cannot believe that it is the 7th week of the class. Next week is our last week. Thursday night we're doing the sales class. I have all of your sales questions, and I certainly am interested in answering those, so I hope that you will be there so we can go over those. I gave up tonight. It's like 100 degrees in California. I'm wearing a tank top and a beautiful mantle that one of my past clients, I love this part of it, Kay Motes. If you've not checked out On Slender Threads on Facebook, you should. She does delightful, delightful posts. So soon I will be taking off the mantle, though, because I'm too freaking hot. It's one of my wedding gifts, but I just thought it's a lot more fun than a tank top. So anyway, let's take a moment. I need a moment. Close our eyes and get centered a little bit before we start talking about mindset, which is one of the most important pieces of a business. So let's get centered and then we'll jump right in. So letting go of any thoughts about tissue paper balls or wedding day stuff or anything that you're dealing with, any concerns, frustrations, needs to get other things done. I was really thinking about and struck by this week that you all made a big investment by joining this class, and you really deserve to get results from it. So I think it's really key to just let everything else go for this hour and really root into the reason that you joined the class in the first place. And it may have changed, and it may be a new reason, and that's fine. You can dig down deep in there as well, but we want you to be really centered in what you need tonight. And really open to possibility. Hopefully tonight will be mind changing for many of us. And know that a big breakthrough always can come at any moment. Always, always. And a nice inhalation. Just taking in hope. And a nice exhalation, letting go of anything else that's distracting. Okay. So off comes the beautiful wedding mantle. It already is too warm. And I've got lots to say tonight. So I'm excited for this evening's class. It is a challenging and an interesting class, I think. A lot is said about mindset all the time. A lot of people make a lot of money from selling mindset. Mindset alone will get you nothing. With action, it'll get you a lot, but just simply changing your mind and thinking abundantly and imagining driving a Lamborghini and having big sales will not actually get you a big sale or a Lamborghini. So I put it late in the run of the class because I think it's one of those things that you must have in order to make massive sales, period. But I also think it's one of those things where you know, it's sort of old school to think that mindset is really, I mean, I don't think any of us are just selling mindset anymore. And so there are people who sold mindset and made a lot of money doing it, and that's phenomenal. And we want to talk about mindset and action. So a couple of key things to notice. And I think, you know, it's an interesting balance between, I love the idea that you can take right action and it will get you into right thinking. So if I exercise every day, that's not a great example. So let me think of a better example. But the idea being, what we really want to do, and I know I keep going back to your homework, but I will tell you that this is true, that the amount of sales that you're going to get are going to be in direct proportion to the amount of the tasks that you've been able to complete during the class. So, for instance, Francine is doing a class on Thursday, and I, like the biggest dork in the world, scheduled my class then because I seriously, and I apologize, Francine, I sent you an email also, I am like, with wedding stuff, my brain is not holding onto as much as it should. There she is. Hi, Francine, and I apologize, and I will talk to you more about that later. Maybe I can plug you during my show. I'd love to do that, or other things. But I noticed that a number of folks have not done their show yet. Sherry's certainly done a number of them. And I know that it may feel like now's not the right time. And also it's near the end of summer. And so I can understand if you're not wanting to do a show, if you're planning it for mid-September. I think that's brilliant also. But what I would really encourage you to look at, and I think that this is what's really key always, and the more I do private coaching, the more I see it, is to just really check in with, am I hiding? Like if I'm not doing a show because I'm hiding, then that's an issue. And I get it. I totally understand it in huge ways. Huge ways. We teach what we need to know. So I completely understand the want not to be visible. For a while there, I was like, if I could just show up at my wedding and disappear, that would be awesome. But then you get past that. And so what I would say is this, that if you are struggling with your sales still and you don't have it on your calendar to do the show, you want to get it on your calendar. I think it's really important. And so how does mindset play into that? Because there we are talking about direct action. And I know I've mentioned Think and Grow Rich, which is a great freaking book. And I still, the moment anybody wants to read that with me every morning, I'm so ready for that. Because the... And it's even interesting because Think and Grow Rich is not just about thinking. Like there's an awful lot of action that's involved in that. And so here are some things that you can look at to figure out whether you need to sort of take a look at your mindset stuff or not. If your expectation that when you do your web show is that no one's going to show up, that's a mindset issue. If you are too afraid to launch a new product or a service because you think no one will buy from you, that's a mindset issue. If you are struggling with, like me, I'm getting ready to launch something new and I could not wrap my mind around going to the price point that some folks had suggested that I do, that's like completely transparent. Mindset issue. And I also know that the amount of fear is equal to the amount of what the payoff is for going through it. And so I'll be walking right through that fear shortly. But if you're struggling with those kinds of pieces, then a lot of what will happen at times is that you end up with the symptoms of not posting on Facebook, not friending, taking actions that won't really work in your favor to get you where you want to go. So I would even encourage you, some clients of mine are doing a class on like blocks in their bodies that's happening on Thursday. It's Kirk Prine and Donnie Lowry, and I think they do wonderful work about where you're feeling blocked in your body. And depending upon where the class goes this evening, we may even do an exercise that's a little bit different than what they do, but certainly breaks through those blocks. But what I'd love to start with is if you want to throw up on the chat a little bit, and the other piece, sometimes I forget, but when we talk about mindset, typically what we're talking about is an abundance mindset or a wealth mindset. The sense that you can make loads of money from your business, like having limitless possibility, really believing that that's true for you. And one of the things that's truly required in order to have big sales is the ability to believe that that might happen for you. So if people can do a really quick check-in and talk to me a little bit about where they are with mindset, I just want to take the temperature of that with the class, and then I'll figure out which route we're going to go. There are a couple of questions from the sales questions you all had that may not get answered tomorrow night, so I'm going to, while the delay happens, let you know a couple of those things. People were talking about niche and not niching, and I think that the important thing is really to be true to your passion. Whatever your three-word passion is, that's the answer, because whatever you are in tune with, it really is your life's purpose. I don't care if it's a niche or not a niche. You know, it's like Gandhi. How much of a niche was that? I mean, I guess in some ways you could say, well, it was a specific group of people and that sort of thing. But I would say that sometimes those are also questions that are about hiding. Additionally, folks were talking about how to, after they've warmed up people, actually have the sales conversation. And I would say that as soon as you have gotten through the bonding portion and you've gotten to the part where, you know, a lot of people will talk about diagnose, like what you want to do is you want to ask someone how you can help them. You want to find out what their pain is. You want to ask them what they lose sleep over at night. You really want to get to the heart of, it's just like a diagnosis with a doctor. At that point, there's a solution that's needed, and generally that's going to be a situation when you are going to then say, well, I have a product. If you're interested, I could help. And I wouldn't lead with I have a product. At first I would say, I understand where you are coming from, and I would be happy to help. Would you be interested in hearing some about that? And I wouldn't spend all of your time. People who are doing well aren't spending an hour talking about the 98 ways that they can get an ebook, a magazine, a da-da-da to you. What they're listening to is what you're going through, and then they're able to let you know that they have the solution. It's also good to talk about people you've worked with in the past that have had their problems solved, and so there's a little bit of a guide point to that. Great. I love it. Okay, so people are posting. Susan says she's excited and sky's the limit, but still having a hard time posting on Facebook. Debbie says, you have a great product service that's needed, but I'm concerned that no one will see the value in the beginning stages, no one showing up for the initial show. Facebook is easy. I'd love to hear from more of you. Do you feel like you're stuck with mindset? Where do you feel you are with that? Like, how profitable do you think you'll be? That's sort of the question to answer. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty. This was my big tip out of the questions that you all asked about sales, and so this is what I'll leave you with before we go back to mindset, is just that if you can mobilize a group of people to be involved in what you're doing, that's so much better in terms of time use than if you are mobilizing one person. So again, connecting with people in this group, asking if you can have them sing your praises, connecting with networking groups, connecting with, there are a number of groups on Facebook that are people who are like-minded and interested in new things. I'm in a new group called Driven Divapreneurs. It's a slew of people there. They will let you post anything on their wall. So I would say that that's a really, really smart thing to do rather than looking for customers one by one. Here's some more answers. Gina says, big leap recently, feeling like you do have something great to offer and you're having more courage as a result of this class. That's awesome. It sounds like the mindset stuff is working for Gina. Francine, getting better on Facebook. You know you have a product at a great value. Now that your website is up and rebranding's done, you just have to get the word out. That's awesome. Love it. Susan says, I think your business can take off with the right work, just having problems deciding what area to focus on. So this is good. So what I want to do we're going to go here for a moment. So what are the things that are blocking you all? And I'm not looking for answers like I'm having a hard time posting on Facebook, or I'm confused, or fear of no one showing up for the class. I'd like you to like drop down into your belly for a moment and really listen to what really is cooking, because this is where we can actually solve things. Because honestly, this is the real deal. That it's like the 3-year-old who decides their parents are divorced because of them, and then they walk around their whole life and they feel that way, and it never was because of them, and they make choices that are based on this really outdated idea, because basically every once in a while, when a certain button gets pushed in them, they feel 3 again. They start sort of behaving from that sort of place, and then the world shows up like they are 3. So it's like this self-fulfilling prophecy. So what I'm going to guess is that underneath confusion, underneath not posting on Facebook, under being afraid of people not showing up for a show, what I hear is obviously fear, and then what I'm wondering is what that voice really is for you. So for instance, I love it's fun to use dating examples right now, a week and a half out from my wedding, which I'm very excited about. And we don't need to talk about that, so I don't mean to pull the focus. You don't have to chat anything about my wedding. But the deal is, I used to be like, ugh, like there's something wrong with me. No one's ever going to love me. And what it got down to was worthiness for me. I'm not worthy, which was something from long ago, far away, being a little kid. Wasn't even true, but it was something that I had thought. And so it's like fetal position on the bed. I'm not worthy. So fetal position for your business, ladies. What's the thing that comes up for you? And typically it's going to be like, I'm alone in the world, or it's going to be, I'm not good enough, or it's going to be like, I'm different than other people, or it's going to be even like, I'm not lovable. So generally that's what it's going to be. It's going to be one of those things. Sherry says the screen keeps freezing, and I hope we don't have the problem we did last time. Everybody let me know if that happens for you. And Sherry, if you refresh Also, if you sign off and sign back on, sometimes your computer, I find with Ustream, if I've had a lot of stuff going on, I've just got to log out and log back in. So tonight's the night where we sort of go to the roots of the weed and figure out what's going on. Rather than plucking off the pieces of the weed on the outside, we get to really go to, okay, here's really the real deal with my business. I'm going to answer, I love this. I'm answering sales questions while it takes you all time to go back. You may have to listen to the class again, but I really want to give you as much value as I can. And so, let's see, how to start with no client base. That's easy. You just on Facebook go find your clients. Joint ventures with someone who sells the same service. I think that's really interesting. I would say if you can figure out a way to make it profitable for both of you, why not? You know, why not? Especially if the other person has skills that you don't have. What you want to look for in joint venture is someone who has a list that you don't have, who has the ability to be on a web show, which scares you to death, someone who is really outgoing, which you're not, or, you know, someone who has no social media and you can do the social media end of the venture and they do other pieces. So you really want to look at things from a business perspective. And just a lot of what I'm seeing lately is, you know, like if you have to be receiving. So it's about giving and it's about receiving. And so if there's loads of money going out of you for your business and there's money that's not coming in, I'm just going to venture to guess, unless you have loads of money to spend. So let's say it this way, if there's loads of debt that's being created by your business, then there's probably a block in there. There's probably something that's stuck. I know that a lot of people have sold from a place where they sort of shame you and convince you, like if your mother were dying, you should spend billions of dollars with me. But that's yesterday. That's old school. That's not what we want to do anymore. So I would say that inside of there is some fear or some block, and that's the place where we want to go. We want to pull the weeds up by its roots. Okay, so more questions. JP asks, where are you blocked? What's the real deal? Is it that, like, in your fetal position for your business, like, do you feel unworthy? Do you feel unlovable? Like, I know that there are the questions that go on out here, but really when we're blocked, it tends to be some sort of belief that we've created about ourselves that just doesn't serve us. So that's the shorthand. Sorry about the shorthand. Susan, fear of being at a day job forever and missing your daughter growing up. Yep. If no one shows, can you recover from that? I love these questions. Okay. So now we're really talking about it. And I think there are a couple of different responses. I love these questions. Okay. You know, and so there's a wonderful body exercise that we could do, and I can talk to you about it. And it's, I may talk about it in a little bit and try to give you the, like, brain portion of it, because I think it's really important. But the other piece is what I'm hearing, or that some logistical pieces are missing, and so I'm going to go there and see if we can work on some of these, because I hear you, and I see people launching all the time, and it's not working out. And I definitively am with people all the time who are just so afraid that they're, like, it's too scary to try. And so I think that these are key things, and I'm just going to come back to these, and these are always the answers. Always, 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 always the answers. So I'm going to type them into the box, and I'm going to give you, here's the deal. And from knowing your businesses as much as I do, and from seeing them, and here's the other piece too, and it's interesting because it's like, okay, so Lindsay wants to be transparent. Lindsay tells everyone to be transparent. It's scary for Lindsay to be transparent. So here's the thing. At one point when I was self-employed, I did horribly, really badly. And that's really changed, and specifically for me, I know that the reason is, and I say this all the time, but it's like your mission has to be bigger than your fear. So let's look at how we do this. The first one is the 3-word passion. Whatever that is for you, and I'm finding more and more, like, I'll be very honest. What really happened for me was I got really clear that I wanted kids, and that I didn't want kids who grew up in financial craziness, and that was a deal, like, not having kids was a deal breaker, and financial craziness for my kids was a deal breaker. And as soon as I got clear on that, my business had bedrock to stand on. And that's really the truth. And so a lot of people that I coach with, even the 3-word passion is like, yeah, I want to go out and do this in the world. But I would say even, let's back it up for just a moment and say this. What if we look concretely at what you're really committed to in your life? And it doesn't need to be what your business is. But like when it comes down to it, like I use examples like this and I'm sorry, but like if tomorrow were your last day in the world, what would you do? So for instance, Susan talks about wanting to spend time with her daughter. So bottom line, that's her 3-word passion. I mean, I don't know how we package it in 3 words, but that's what her 3-word passion is. And if some of you would just be brave enough to even tell us what that really is for you, and we can keep this confidential, and this is the root of what we need to be talking about. So whatever that is for you, the real, yep, there we go. So we've got Susan's little girl. Yep, 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 yep. Love it. Okay, Sherry, so I want to help you and live your passion. So your passion is to live your passion. So tell me what your passion is so that I'm really clear. Like if tomorrow were it, what would you be doing today? Because the deal is when we boil it down to this really important piece, there's nothing that we won't do to not get that. And so then your launch gets in alignment with that, your product gets in alignment with that, your pricing gets in alignment with that. And here's the deal, every piece is going to be scary. It's never not scary. And the point is that it's not supposed to become unscary. Excuse the double negative. The deal is that you just end up braver than you are afraid. That it's just that much more important to spend time with your daughter than it is to be afraid about people not showing up at a web show. I love it. Spending time with your boys. Freedom for fun. Love it. Love it, love it. I am sorry that you all are struggling. Ustream must have done a recent upgrade. If we have another person who it happens to, I'll switch over to vocal. So these are Sherry, helping other women. I love it. I love it, I love it. So here's the deal. If you get really down to what is most important to you, and like that is your mantra, and you check everything with that. Like for me, it's like, it's hard to do. It's really hard to do because this is just the nature of being human. I think there are things that'll always want to pull you off your course. But the deal is I sit down and I go, okay, so I'm going to launch a new product because I want kids who are financially stable. So does launching this new product give me kids that are financially stable? And sometimes that means not doing, and this is what's key, is that like, here's the Wizard of Oz curtain and we're yanking it away. So I could go speak at some big event and wear fancy clothes and hang out with fun people and do that kind of thing, and a lot of times those don't end up actually paying very well. You end up spending for vendor tables, for your clothes, for your travel, all of that kind of thing. So it looks good to the ego. Doesn't necessarily mean business right away. It could, but there are other options for me personally at the moment where I could be on the phone with people teaching classes, and that gets me closer to my goal. And it's less stress for me. And so there are other things that are always going to be tempting that pop in, and it's always going to be confusing, but what you've got to do is pull it back to, okay, does this give me more time with my boys? So then once you've really figured out like what the bedrock bottom thing is, here's the deal. It's like you've got to set a fire to the rest of everything and just burn it down. Like when they burn down fields and it's all gone, all your ideas of what you think your business should be, of what you want to look like, of what you want people to think you're like, of what would be the kind of marketing that sounds fun or sounds good to you, any of that stuff that appeals to like the ego part of you, I promise you it's the stuff that you'll have to let go of. There's a huge part of me that'd rather be in a fancy outfit talking on a big stage and not making money. Like there's always some Achilles, is it Achilles tendon to all of us that makes us want to go, okay, so I'll go spend $1 bazillion on a wedding dress that'll make my life great. It's like, it doesn't get me closer to my goal, not to my real goal. So all those things that we think about, especially launch strategy, the old school stuff of like send out a newsletter e-zine every week, a launch looks like this, throw that away. Don't think about that. That's really crucial. I cannot tell you. So that's step So 3-word passion is not even the first one. So what's your bedrock? That's the first one. The second one is burn down the field. Everything you think you know, what it's supposed to be, all that stuff, and the majority of what a lot of people tell you, throw it out the freaking window. Why should you listen to me? I will tell you that the people that I work with are making a lot of money. And I see a lot of people who even look like they're making a lot of money and aren't making a lot of money. I think because I've done a lot of sales for entrepreneurs, I get to talk to a lot of people and I get to find out pretty quickly who has money and who doesn't, which stays confidential, but you would be blown away. So you have to let go of all those ideas of whatever. That's just, you just got to trust me on that one, or this, I don't know how else you make money. So then after you've let all of that stuff go away, you need to talk to your audience. Specifically meaning who's bought from you, because your best friend may have the best ideas in the world, your coach may have the best ideas in the world. It doesn't matter unless they're paying you in terms of this specific feedback. So you need to talk to people who've paid you. You need to talk to them about what have they bought from you, why did they buy it, what did they love, what did they not love, what would they suggest. And that's going to blow your freaking mind. And then from there, from talking to those people, what you need to specifically do, which we've talked about, is go out and find your target audience. So if it's all your high school friends on your page and you're going to say, should I start a new skincare makeup line? They're going to tell you stuff that doesn't even matter because they're not paying you. And this is what's really key to know, is that only 3 things are necessary for you to make money. You and whatever you've got, another person, and cash, the cash they give you. It doesn't necessarily mean you even need a web show. Like, if you can find a way to do it without a web show, go for it. I just see that that's the way that it's working all the time lately. So those are the only 3 things. The rest of it still, like, throw out the window. Spending $5 bazillion on something before you actually are making profit just was not a luxury that I could afford. So, and I don't see it happen. I think there's a very precise person that happens for, but I'm talking about the majority of people here. You know, I think there are some people that get made into millionaires, but if you look at all the people that person has coached that's made that one person into a millionaire, there are a lot of people who aren't. So I'm off my soapbox about that. I don't need to talk about that anymore. But talk to your audience and get clear on what they want and what they need. And specifically, I mean, here's the deal. Talking to you all, I was finding that you all were wanting information on sales, and so then I go, wow, maybe I should be talking about sales more. That's something that they really want. And I said, do you want to hear more information about sales? You all said yes. And so this has happened over the course of a couple of classes for me. It's not, things also don't, you know, miraculously happen in 5 minutes. But then I get really clear and I go, wow, sales is where people really need a lot of help. So let me see if I can help them. Is that from any idea about how cute I would look if I did, or what my logo would be like if I did, or it would be so fun if I did, or my best friend saying, oh, you should totally do that? No. It's based on reality. And that's a huge piece. So for instance, if you're launching and you're finding that no one's buying, the real deal is this. You should never even, like, take the word launch out of your mind for now. And I know I've taught you launch strategy, but just the concept, I see so many people who are spending forever in all this launch stuff and it's never been connected to anyone. So you got to talk to your audience, you got to find out what they want, and you've got to find out what they buy. And then you need to start your list. I think it's really, you know, it's a sign of the times that in the last economy that we had, you could throw anything to the wall and it would stick. You could just make up a $5,000 coaching program, put a cute logo. I mean, I don't mean to speak that. I have no idea. If you made me make a logo, if you held a gun to my head, I'd be screwed. So for anyone who makes logos, I'm speaking completely out of school about saying anything about, you know, you may be able to teach me that a great logo is the thing that would sell a million things. So that's awesome. But here's the deal. If you don't have buyers, forget it. You've got nothing. So even if you just spend your time working on buyers, that's brilliant. Now, in the mix of these things, you've got to know what your 3-word passion is, what it is you're really meant to deliver. Because sometimes it's easy to get a little bit off course. It's easy to go, well, it sounds like everyone would like sports bras, so I'm going to quit doing sexy bras and make sports bras because the people would like that. That's also not what we're talking about. We're talking about really being in touch with, and I am a big believer, like, you're not here on accident. There's something specifically that you're meant to deliver. If I made you all put it down tonight, actually, why don't you type into the chat for me what it is you're here for? Why are you alive? What's the purpose? The purpose may be to spend time with your kids. The purpose may be to help women. The purpose may be, you know, and the purpose may be that you don't know exactly, and that's awesome. That's a great place to start from too. Because then we don't have to like make the 6-week package with the 2-week whatever and the blah, 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 and it doesn't work. So, love it. Loving others and making them feel valuable. See, now we're talking, Debbie. That's something that like you can get behind, and I can feel it in my body, and everybody else can feel it too. And you can do that with skincare, which is the thing that you happen to know about, but now we're really talking. Because in an economy like this, which people, I have to tell you, there are people who are doing so well, it's unbelievable. And there are people who weren't doing well in the prior economy. So it's not like they've been gifted with some talent or wisdom that other people just never had. It's that they're really responding to what people want and need. So while others of you throw up there what it is, but I really want to see. So why are you alive? And you can guess. I would say freaking, I had an acting teacher, I loved it. She'd be like, well, if you knew what, if you did know, what would the answer be? Guess. So throw a guess up there. And I will tell you, like, sometimes I'm like, okay, I know I'm meant to have kids, and I don't know more beyond that. So I haven't really figured out the whole purpose of the whole shebang. I have figured out what's next and what I feel in my gut and what I know. I love it. Sherry, that's a brilliant answer. Not knowing is brilliant. Freaking brilliant. Sherry, I'm just going to ask you even, so helping other women, I love that, and I'm wondering if there's something, like, if you just close your eyes and take a deep breath and really feel into your gut, like really feel into your belly. I mean, like, I think it's going to be an answer you don't expect. I think it's going to shock the pants off of you, but if you had to help yourself, what would you help yourself do? Susan, helping people connect with family and friends and helping make the world a better place. I like the connecting part. And I get making the world a better place. To reignite the divine spark in those around me. Freaking fabulous. I love it. Raising the best boys you can. Brilliant. These are awesome. And these are crucial. And so here's the deal. And I'm gonna preach for a second, but you have to have cash to do these things. It's really important. And coming from a place where you are overextended, or a number of you talked about not having enough time to do things, it's not possible to like make the world a better place and be so exhausted and have absolutely no time. And so that's why, like, whenever it comes up and you're like, oh, but I just, you know, I'm going to do, I love it, Sherry, relieve the burden of women who are overwhelmed. Thank you very much. Yep. So whenever you then go, okay, so now I'm supposed to, like, do a video about this because somebody said, like, video marketing is great. All of these things are great if they're in alignment with getting you where you need to be. All of these things are great if your target market said to you, well, if you did things by video, that would be awesome. But the majority of people who are talking about doing these things are talking from a place where they've got a list of 1 million people, and their conversion rate, even when it's 1% like it is for you, means a bunch of dollars for them. Yeah, see, Sherry's getting a response. Now we're talking, Sherry. And so, Sherry, just a shorthand, and this is not just for Sherry, this is for all of you, but to look at this case in point, because Sherry's been brave enough and bold enough to be out there to be doing shows, to do a launch, and been right up there doing all of the stuff that I have said. So, Sherry, why a launch might not work is because it specifically wasn't about unburdening women. That's their pain. You've got a slew of overwhelmed women right here. And you just need to be clear, like, I am here to save you from being overwhelmed. And you need to talk about you being overwhelmed. We always teach what we need to know. When my close, I have somebody who doesn't want me to say who had the liver transplant a couple weeks ago, so I keep not doing it, and it is freaking hard for me. And there are some days I want to hide and I don't want to talk about it at all. And then there are some days where I just want to say exactly who it is. So I get, like, we're all right on the edge of what we need to be learning and teaching. And the thing is, Sherry, if you're out there and if you're saying, like, I know you're overwhelmed and I want to help you, do you know how many people are going to show up for that? If you call it anything other than that, though, that's the thing. If you dilute it, or if this is the problem, we add like cute marketing words, or we add like the suit somebody told us to wear, or we add, and that stuff comes from the block. That comes from the feeling like you're never going to make it, the feeling like you're always going to be alone. That's all the crap in our head. So when the crazy voice goes off, there's number 4. That's number 5. You just have to throw the crazy voice out. And here, I'll do this for a moment because this is part of the other exercise, and I think this is really good. If you're not in a car, if you're somewhere where you can close your eyes, do it. And if not, just come back to the recording of the show. It looks like we're at 5:35 now, so if that helps you find it, we're about halfway through. So everybody, if you'll just close your eyes for a moment. And this is easy. And if it's hard for you, that's okay also. But just know that this is something that you know how to do. So what I want you to do is find reality in you for a moment, wherever that is in your body, sorry. And if you're a mom, it's going to be the part of you that doesn't want your kids to burn their hands. It's going to be the part of you that when your child comes home from school saying that the other kids picked on them, is able to say, like, you are a beautiful child and there's nothing wrong with you. It may be the part of you that's connected to spirituality. But whatever part of you, wherever that voice lives inside of you that just freaking knows the truth. And for most of us, it's the voice that helps animals, small children, girlfriends. Like when your girlfriend comes to you and goes, he did it again, and you say, you know what, I love you, and you have got to make a change. Whatever that truest, realest voice is for you, wherever it is for a moment, just put your hand on it. And just feel into that. And just let that voice talk to you for just a second, because what we're doing is we're just putting a placeholder on when the crazy voice comes up in you that says no one's going to come to your show, or when the crazy voice comes up to you that says you're always going to be out of time, or when the crazy voice comes up to you that says you're not going to get time with your daughter. You just, all you need to do is root into what that real voice is, what the truth is. Because the truth, I love it in martial arts when they do sumo wrestling, they say that the person that has the lower center of gravity is always going to knock the other one out of the ring. And so the deal is, even if you can breathe that voice down, for women a lot of the time, like the womb area, in the hips, like there's a really strong center that's there. It's like the mama lioness voice. That voice is so much stronger than any of the crap about like you're going to fail. It's hard, and I'm not saying that it's easy. But the deal is just at every point tomorrow, just start practicing and go, okay, so am I in that real voice? Am I in the truth? And borrow my voice even if you need to. Imagine me in your head. Would I go, you're right, no one likes you, get off Facebook? I would never do that. I would never do that. So you can, wherever you, and most of us have it in our lives, like there's a very specific role we have it. Sometimes it's hardest to have it with ourselves. But the deal is that that really is the 5th step. When the craziness comes up, just say thank you and no. It's the 3-year-old whose parents got divorced and still thinks it's their fault. And there's like a longer exercise we could do with that that's freaking brilliant. If you're ever interested, I'm happy to share it with you. But the real deal is you just need to get connected to what's true. And then it's pretty darn simple after that. The 6th step is you create what's necessary. And it's really, here's the thing, that I promise you, like if you need X amount of dollars to take care of your kids, and you are out there in the world and asking people what they need from you, and there are people who can pay you, please let me, be clear when I'm saying this to you. We're talking about people who are going to buy from you. It's not going to be your best friends. That's a really hard part of this, I think, for a lot of people. We sit there and we think, oh, it's going to be great. 300 women I've never even met are going to buy my $3,000 product. It just doesn't happen that way. I mean, once you've got 5 gazillion followers and friends and a mailing list of a billion, yeah, that's great. And I will say that most of you, I don't think I knew any of you before this class for me. So it doesn't take that long in your business. But at the beginning, you need to be connecting with people. And you need to be connecting with people who have the funds to pay you. And listen to what people are asking for. Listen to the voice inside. I mean, for Sherry, I know that the moment you say that you're going to help women who are overwhelmed, that's your product. I know that that's your product. I know that's your product. And what's interesting is if we all watch, it's that same thing. All of us knew that, right? So if you're a little unsure, if you're not connecting well, if you're not playing well with the others, playing well with others, if you're not connecting to the voice inside of you, you just need to be in touch with someone else who immediately will be able to tell you if that resonates or not. And you need to be brave enough to say to any entrepreneur, I got a new mastermind partner this week. We all need each other. We all need each other. And we'll all tell each other the truth. There's no one in this class who's going to lie to you. They wouldn't do it. We don't do it for each other. We just do it to ourselves. So then you create what's necessary. You go, wow, everyone that I have been talking to has been saying I should deal with people with chronic illness. Like, that's the thread that keeps happening everywhere. If it is a product or a service that's been created in some little corner in some dark room that's a big secret and no one knows about it, and you and one other person have created this together and think it's brilliant, I just don't see it working. And in a different economy, it might be working, but the real deal is that it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Why I did not have a successful coaching practice when I began. I was a love coach. In 5 weeks, I could find people's soulmate. It's like, I mean, like dropping like flies. Not a problem. Really easy for me to do. And I was not connected with a group of people who needed my services. So it, you know, I had the right product, but I wasn't connected to the right people. I think a lot of people are very connected, and then they go, wow, it would be really groovy if I did a something and named it something cool and did it whatever. And then it's so unclear to people. They can't feel you being you, and so that's why your launch is not working. Because it's this nice idea, but it's not really you. You're not delivering what you're meant to deliver here on earth. If your product is not titled like I'm here to save the world or something like that, if that's what your point of being alive is, it's not going to catch on. And here's the other key thing. It's like I hate to throw a bucket of water on you all, but there are huge entrepreneurs who launch stuff all the time that fails miserably. And we just don't know it because that's not the word they're putting out there. But there are people who, you know, launch big old things. Nobody buys. So hopefully that's comforting. Then you go, wow. So Lindsay didn't say I had to put on my Facebook page that my launch failed. You just launched something new. People aren't paying attention. They don't know. They don't care. If no one shows up to your web show, you do another one the next week. You listen to the voice inside of you, Debbie, that would talk to your daughter, and you say, and that's fine. Their loss. I love it. Sherry, good stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. So then once you've figured out what's necessary, do the informational interviews. Be chatting with people so that they are involved and interested. And then probably the best tip that I can give you is start to ask other people for help. You've got a slew of people in this class. Ask them to post your video show on their pages. Even just in a like give, take, I'll do this for you, you'll do this for me economy. Say, I'll post this for you if you'll post this for me, you know, or like post this for me please, and then I'll post something for you anytime you want. Keep a little checklist. Do that for them. The impression that people have who are watching something like that, they go, wow, this person's connected and people like her and she's really generous. And that's not a bad impression to have. I have people who, it blows my mind, but I have people who approach me a lot. I have people who have asked me if they can pay me just for me to post stuff about them on my wall because I've posted so often for other people and they've loved it that they thought that like it was really worth money to them. So if I were listening to my target market, perhaps, but it's not, that's not who I am. $200 and I'll post your class on my wall. Like, that just doesn't cut it. And it's, do you know why it really doesn't cut it? Because that's not going to make me money to have kids who are financially stable. It's not going to work. Not going to work. The other thing I have to say in here that's really key is just finding a partner, finding a connection, finding someone to run these things by. Because very often we are not able to have that voice of truth for ourselves in our belly all the time. We can have it about other people and we can't have it about ourselves. It's just like the conundrum of being alive, as far as I know, or being in business. I don't see anybody who's really able to do it. So if you're connected with another person and once a week for a half an hour you're talking on the phone, you can see their stuff for them, they can see your stuff for you. But you really want it to be like an equitable relationship. If it's someone that, I know I'm harping on it, but I just see a lot of people who it's not worked out well when they paid people a lot of money and they haven't gotten what they needed from it. So find somebody where it's free. Find somebody who, you know, you admire and appreciate. Step it up. Send something out to 3 people. Think up. Say, I am petrified to do this and I need help with my business and I know ways that I could help you. And start chatting with them. Susan says, what if you find something that connects so much with you that the thought of it not working feels almost as bad as the thought of losing my daughter? I'm just going to challenge you for a second. I'm going to say that one or the other of those is more important to you. And it's just important for you to figure out which one's more important. And that's laser coaching, baby. That's brutal. And I'm saying it specifically that way because, and it's okay. Like, here's the thing also. If it's your and the fear's in the same place, I totally get it. But in your heart of hearts, if you had to choose one, that's what I'm making you do. That's the burning down the field. Because the place that you've chosen in this moment is stuck. There's no solution. There's no way out. And that's what we do to ourselves. That's what we do to ourselves. I get afraid so I don't launch my new product. So then I realize I need a new coach to help me get over that fear, and then I go get one. Solved. What's more important to me? Solving it. So then what do we think? After you create what's necessary, then use all the launch strategy. Absolutely. Do all of those things. You've got people on board already. But it's like you would never build an entire ship if you'd never built a ship and no one had ever told you how to build a ship, and think that it would float just because you built this massive boat. You would try little pieces of it out on the water to see if it floated or not, and that's what we're doing. You're trying those little pieces. And what happens that you don't realize, and this is what's so savvy and so strategized and whatever else, it's just this, that people are going to love to champion what you're doing. People whose hearts are in it and who get to contribute to you making those choices that get your product to that place, they're already sold. That's the sales funnel. They're already on board. So I think the other piece too about mindset, honestly, is that in a way you just need to take money out of it. Don't even think about it being money. Because here's the thing. Okay, so Sherry, if you want to offer to the world that you're going to take away the overwhelm from people, then don't I want to give you something for taking away my overwhelm? Good Lord, yes. Absolutely. It would be not okay if you were going to, like, take away my overwhelm and I was going to just, like, be okay with that and go on my merry way. So if you're really bringing your goods to the table, if you're bringing what you're meant to be doing, which is bound to be, it's not like Sherry's going to give a class on how to not be overwhelmed and everyone's going to leave and feel more overwhelmed than before. We know that that's not what she's going to deliver. Any of you with specifically, like, Debbie's not going to say, I'm going to love others, and then, like, provide some sort of product for that. And everybody's going to be like, oh my God, I feel so unloved. We're, like, really talking about what you're really here to do. We can all see it in each other. You're really going to deliver, like, serious transformation. I know that I'm going to feel loved. I know that my divine spark is going to be reignited. It's not like, oh, she tried. What happens with those people who are like, I'm going to be a money coach, and they are a disaster or not or whatever, but you leave and you're not transformed, is like they shouldn't be being a money coach. They came up with a nice idea they thought would make cash. It's not really who they are or what they're meant to do. So you create your product. You've already got people on board. You get communal with it. You get people singing your praises. It starts out small, and then it gets much larger. And the more you are, this is just the way that this goes. It's so funny because like these are things that I never even say, but this is the freaking truth. And this is why people will call me. A friend of mine who's a big entrepreneur called last night and was asking for input on stuff, and I'm so honored in a lot of ways. And here's the real freaking deal. That if you are really committed to what you are, like I'm committed to the kids thing. I'll do whatever's necessary. I bring it back to that all the time. I get freaking scared, and then I get rooted in like, what is reality here? Scared, and I'm freaking doing it anyway. I talk to people. I ask them what they need. They let me know, and I create packages based on that. I would have never, if you had asked me, I would have never in a million years thought I would have taught a social media class. Never. I would not be here with you. Never, ever. It was not some cute little package I came up with. It was not like, it was based on people that I was working with and talking to and wanted to be my clients were finding that the packages that I originally offered were not in the price range that they wanted. So I was like, there's a need. I'll respond to it. I'll do that. So then from that place, after you figure out whatever product or whatever launch it is, you're going to have to go through a multitude of like web shows, Facebook posts, a lot of stuff that's scary, and it doesn't freaking matter. Because even like, I'm using Sherry as an example so much. So Sherry, what would be the place, I'm going to switch it up. So Susan, here's the deal. So if taking care of your sons is the thing that's most important at every turn, then you get to go, okay, so do I do this web show that will take care of my sons, or do I wimp out? And that's not a nice voice for any of us to use with each other, but that's what it comes down to. So like, what's more important, my fear or my mission, what I'm here to accomplish, what I really am committed to? And we all know, like, if you're in love with a pair of high heels, you'll do whatever is necessary to get those high heels. Bills be damned, lunch break be damned, whatever be damned, or whatever it is. Whatever you are in love with that you desperately want, you'll do whatever is necessary. You have the capacity to do it. So you just show up and do the things in, exactly as we've talked about in the class, exactly as lined out, to get all of those things done. So when I say launch, it doesn't go against what we've been talking about in terms of launch strategy. I simply mean the idea that you sit in a dark room and create something that you think is catchy, that people will buy. That doesn't work. I don't know. I mean, if you're the people who created ShamWow, maybe that works. But then also, I think the person who created ShamWow probably, meant to create ShamWow or something. So those are the pieces. And at every moment that you're not doing it, or at every moment that you're, so we've burnt down the field. So if you're like, it's some wacky voice in your head that says you're supposed to be in a back room somewhere secretly creating something that's going to kill your competition, like, that's just crazy. So since that option's gone, then if you're really in touch with people and you're really finding out what they want, at a certain point after talking to them, you're going to really realize what it is you're meant to be doing. And then you're probably going to need a little help. A lot of us will struggle with the specific thing that they talk about as mindset, which is where we go, we want to price it for $99, when that's never going to take care of your kids, it's never going to take care of your overwhelm, it's never going to take care of you being able to love the world. And so then you need to price it appropriately so that will happen. And it's about being in balance. It's not about charging $1 million for one thing so that you can lounge. I just don't find that it works that way. It may work that way for some people. I don't know those people. I don't really know. I don't get that. It's not an integrity for me. If your transformation is worth $1 million, please, charge $1 million. If your transformation is worth $2 million, don't charge $1 million, charge $2 million. But what you need to do is really, in a very realistic way, go, okay, so here's how much money I need coming in to do this, and here are the pieces to put together. And the other thing that you will find is that at the beginning it's scary, it's hard, it takes a little bit longer than necessary. I love Marianne Williamson. She was at a mindset conference and people were talking about things and she was like, get a job. You know, she was like, I was a temp when I was first giving my speeches. There was nothing wrong with that. So I think the other piece is, I'm not suggesting that everyone go and get jobs, but I just think that what's really crucial is that you're in reality. And that you're sharing that reality with somebody who's able to see it and look at it, like my friends and mastermind partners do, and go, Lindsay, why are you charging that little? Fix it. It happens to all of us, and it's good. It's good. And then the easiest piece about all of this is that then what you do is once you've got a group of people who are purchasing from you and you're doing, you know, whatever program, whatever service, whatever product you want to do, then what you want to do from that place is continue to build. So then what happens from there is you think, wow, so if this product had a part 2, what would it be? So I've invented this wonderful BlackBerry. Now I'm going to invent BlackBerry Cleaner, because everybody's BlackBerry's getting dirty, and you just keep building on it from there. And if your business is really built on solid ground, it's not about every week you decide to become some new business. I see that happen a lot to people also. One program sells well, and then they decide, oh, I really didn't want to help women with overwhelm. I really want to help women like fly to Mars or something. And it's like, if that's in your heart of heart, if that's really what you really had from the beginning supposed to have done, if you really know that you've been avoiding the flying to Mars thing, then freaking get them on the flying to Mars. But it can be like how to avoid overwhelm. And, you know, you'll hear everyone in your group, Sherry, that'll go, it's not actually about being business overwhelmed. It's about a lack of faith, or it's about not being physically active enough. Or you'll find that everyone in your group, of course, will be a caregiver, which is what you've been. And then you'll go, wow, I'm going to teach a program on how people can be caregivers and take care of themselves. So it even gets more specialized. It gets more refined. Your audience will tell you exactly what you're supposed to be doing. You just have to be brave enough to be talking to them. They will tell you exactly. And the more you're out there and the more people hear about it and the more people are buying it, then what will happen is your things become more of a premium and the prices go up. Or you can look at going from a group of 10 people to a group of 10,000. You look at ways to leverage that and make that happen. Debbie asks, how many eyes do I have on my business? That's brilliant, Debbie. I'll be really frank. So first of all, I've got an assistant who is really smart, young, hungry entrepreneur, sits around reading Michael Gerber. He's a brilliant person to have his eyes on my business. He says really freaking brilliant things about my business. So I have an assistant who, that's one of the greatest gifts. He's able to say things to me like, I think your voice is realistic but hopeful. I would have never come up with that saying. And so then I'm like, great. So I can't think of anything to put on Twitter today. Can we brainstorm realistic and hopeful things? Can you write 10 realistic but hopeful tweets for me? The social media maven. Then I'll look at them and I'll use them to figure out exactly what I meant to say. Brilliant. My fiance's eyes are on my business. He helps me a lot with it. He is freaking smart about integrity, about level-headedness, about the right thing to do. Like some of the places that I get a little bit like, I'm confused. Really brilliant at the technical stuff too. At the moment, 2 mastermind partners. And that's varied. And this is the one thing that here's the deal with me. I'm going to be very frank with you. And I think I may have said this before, but when I got clear it was about having kids and I wasn't stopping anything, I started puking. It was like that hard. It was not an easy transition. I mean, I was up against my stuff. So if you have not puked yet for your business, keep going. You may not have to puke for your business, but it's meant to be hard. It's a trade-off. This is what happens. That's life. That's how it goes. And it's okay. It's good. It's really good. I'm getting the life I want. Awesome. I'll puke for that. And so in being really committed to that, what I will do consistently is find as many people as I need to have their eyes on it. I arranged mastermind groups forever. Every Saturday or Sunday we'd get together for like 6 hours even, which was way too freaking long, but we'd like do people's websites together. We'd do whatever was necessary. We'd plan people's entire classes. So the important key thing about it is this. You need to be around people who have mindset, people who believe that everything is possible for you, people who really believe in you and their fear is not going to stop them in their business. Because then they're not going to see fear in your business either. And fear a lot of times will look like I'm taking 8 new classes, I've got 8 new technical things we can use, I've got 8 new blah, 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 and a lot of that's hiding. What you really want to look at, and I love this, somebody said to me once, your coach has got to make more money than you do. Somebody else said, get a millionaire in your mastermind. Genius. I have a millionaire who looks at my stuff. So as many people as you can sanely, and it's not like here's my business, do whatever you want to with it, because I'm pretty clear on some stuff, but there are moments when I can't see clearly, and those are the moments when you ask. Moments when you know what you're doing, just do it. So that's mindset, and it's not your typical mindset. I mean, read Think and Grow Rich, which is sort of the quintessential mindset-y kind of thing. And there are a lot of wonderful, lovely ideas, but if that doesn't translate into who you're being and what you're delivering in your business, it doesn't mean money. It means you can spend money listening to people talk about mindset all the time, but it doesn't necessarily mean what's real. I think mindset is really about being able to be really hopeful. And the places where you find yourself not having hope, those are the places that you go, wow, there's some work to do there. I need a mastermind partner. I need a little, like whatever it is that works for you. Whatever it is that works for you. Use it. But those little places that are blocked, those places are not the truth. Those places that say to you, oh, you should start a dog walking business, or oh, get a job, quit being an entrepreneur, or oh, there's something wrong with you, that your stuff's not selling, that's the biggest freaking lie in the world. It just means that the way that you've gone about it hasn't been the way that worked. That's all it means. That's all it means. And I think that the problem really happens, here's the real deal about mindset, is that when you let those crappy thoughts sit in your brain and run your brain and then run your life, like that's a mindset that's for disaster, and that's what you've got to defeat. So whenever those are coming up, it's about finding a way to like get in there with a shovel and get those out of there. And it's very much about just being in the truth about what's real and connecting with other people. There's somebody who I heard, and I love this, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, and I even quite frankly think that this particular speaker uses the word God because this speaker thinks that things are going to sell more that way. And you can call it whatever you want. I don't even call it hope, you call it He-Man, call it anything you want. But the deal is, humans are social. We are meant to be connected to one another. So the idea that I can sit in a room by myself and figure out stuff and not be connected to anyone in the world and come out and, like have a lot of other people fall in love with it is just crazy. We're meant to be connected. And that's the funny thing is, like, for a lot of us, it's like people are scary, or rejection's scary, or people loving us is scary. And the thing that you need for money is me, you, and cash. And so the deal is you've chosen something where there are people involved and people are going to have to love you. So you're going to have to make peace with the fact that that's going to happen. So, tomorrow night is the sales class. I think it'll be really helpful. I think that on the heels of this, you all have gotten an advanced piece that will not be tomorrow night, but will also be tomorrow night's new information. It's not information that we've necessarily covered before. Somewhat similar, but in a new format, so I think it's totally worth listening to because I think it will really, really, really help you and answer a lot of the questions that you all had prior. Monday's Q&A is happening on the 30th rather than the Q&A tomorrow night because I made an error. I'm like a scheduling error machine. Francine, will you please put up a link for your show that is tomorrow night? My show is available by recording, and so you all are welcome to listen to the recording just as well as live. I would suggest that you all watch Francine tomorrow night. I don't know if she's still on, but check out her Facebook page because we want to give her as much support as possible. She's doing Oh, I lied to you. My show's Thursday. I'm sorry. I think it's tomorrow. I think I said Kirk and Donnie's show's Thursday. I apologize. Their show's tomorrow. My show's Thursday. Francine's show is Thursday. Support Francine. Say good things about her. She's doing Target Market stuff. I can't wait to watch the show. I'm bummed that and I'll be watching the recording. So, I apologize for my scheduling snafus that happen sometimes. And I think you guys are doing great. Very brave tonight. Very brave to talk about this stuff. And, you know, like, get on the phone with each other. Trade phone numbers. Let's make this real. There's so much money sitting in the mix of you all. You don't even have a clue in terms of what you could bring in. There's none of you that I do not believe in your ability to, like, take your stuff to at least the $1 million mark. It's just not my experience of you. And I wouldn't say that. And I think that's what I've got for tonight. So, I hate getting off. But I got to. I got to be a good teacher. So I will see you all Tuesday for our last class. It is about a social media, I'm blanking on the word. You get paper. It has numbers. It tells you a plan. It's a social media plan for you. So it gives you a really substantial thing for you to move forward with. And it has been a pleasure as always. So have a wonderful evening, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks.